Hey y'all, welcome back to the Corner with Jay. This is episode 3 of season 2, and today I'm sharing a part of my journey that most people would have tried to hide. But me, I'm not ashamed of it because I know where I came from and I know who brought me through. So if you're in a storm, feeling like life is falling apart, I pray this reminds you this ain't the end. You've got more in you. Let's get into it. By 2011, I had already been divorced and I had 3 boys. My oldest was from a previous relationship. My second son was with my ex husband. And my baby boy, I had him with an old friend. No relationship there, just one of those life moments. After the divorce, life got real. I couldn't find a job to save my life, y'all. And I didn't have anyone willing to help with childcare, so I couldn't even start to rebuild. I bounced around between staying with friends and family, but let's just say it wasn't working. And out of respect, and because some people live in full blown denial and delusion, I won't go into all the details. I'll save that for another day. So I made one of the hardest decisions of my life. My 2 youngest boys went to live with their fathers, and my oldest stayed with me. I reached out to social services, and they connected me to a shelter in the city. Now, let me be honest. That transition, brutal. I was scared, but I couldn't show it. As a mama, I had to stay strong for my oldest. And then I got sick, which led to me finding out I was 4 months pregnant with my daughter. And yes, y'all, it was daddy number 4. And before anybody gets on here being judgy, don't. Life be lifing. Nobody's perfect, and I never claim to be perfect. At the same time, I had just gotten hired at a full-time job. I had no support system. I had no one to call. Y'all, this shelter had mold in it. And some of the social workers, oh, Jesus help me. Because I cannot say what I want to say as a Christian woman. I will say this. Those 4 months were the lowest, and I mean lowest, part of my life. But they also showed me what I was truly made of. People will tell it like I never reached out for help or like I turned people down, and that's just not true. I distanced myself from my family on purpose because I found out that I was being dragged through the mud, being called every name but a child of God, y'all. And yes, this was my blood family. Folks used my kids as pawns to manipulate me, to hurt me. They told lies. They painted me as an unfit mother who lost custody. Let me say this loud and clear. I never lost custody of my kids. I made a hard, painful decision out of love to keep my kids safe until I got my life back together. But what I didn't know at that time was that by doing what was best for my kids would get twisted and used against me. To this day, nobody really knows what my son and I endured in that shelter or what we went through those 4 months. The sleepless nights, the days I went without eating to make sure he was good. And yes, y'all, this was all doing while I was carrying my baby girl. I was pregnant, overwhelmed, but I was still pushing through. But even in that dark space, God sent the light. I met some amazing women in that shelter. And to this day, they still hold a very special place in my heart. They helped me keep my sanity when I was barely hanging on. So to those ladies, to my queens from 87, I love y'all still to this day. Eventually, I got an apartment before giving birth to my daughter. Thank you, Jesus. I went on maternity leave on a Friday, y'all. And that following Wednesday, I gave birth to my daughter. Talk about divine intervention and pushing it to the end. My third son eventually came back to live with me. My second son decided he wanted to stay with his dad, which I was fine with because I still got to see him. And our relationship is still strong to this day. So in this 1-bedroom apartment, it is myself, my oldest son, my baby boy, and my newborn daughter. We stayed there until right before her first birthday. And right before she made a year old, we received a blessing. I was able to move my kids into a very spacious 2-bedroom apartment, and that was our home until 2018. I still miss that apartment. I will say I worked my butt off to build my life back up. I stayed focused. I still went through trials and tribulations. It wasn't perfect, but I slowly began to rebuild a life for my kids and I. Now, let me make this perfectly clear because I know I have some people listening, even though they say they don't listen, but I know that they do just to see what I'm going to talk about. That will say, oh, she's doing this just to gain followers. Oh, she's twisting it. She's making it to be out more than what it was. I'm not telling this story for sympathy, but I'm telling it for someone who might be in the thick of it right now. And it feels as if your life is falling apart, like you have hit rock bottom. 2 words: trust God. That season of my life humbled me. It grew me. It made me stronger than I ever thought I could be. And that's probably why I'm so headstrong to this day, especially when it comes to my kids. And I made a promise that no matter what I had to go through, how hard I had to work, sleepless nights I had to have, my kids would always have a home and never have to go through something like that again. Even if it's a small studio, 1-bedroom, I don't care. As long as they are with me and we have a roof over our head. Even if we have to start over from scratch, we'll start over with peace. I will say this though. My story, me being in the shelter, someone tried to use it against me to embarrass me amongst other people who knew nothing about me, who had never met me a day in my life. But in reality, it backfired, y'all, bad. Because instead of shaming me, it shows how far I've come. And it made them look petty. Capital Petty. And it makes me proud to share the journey that I've been on. Every single struggle, every painful decision has turned into a testimony with a capital T. This is why I go so hard for my family. Nobody can ever say that this mama right here has never given it her all. I fight tooth and nail every day. Through the sickness, through my pains, headaches, migraines, whatever. Because it's not about me. It's about my kids. Y'all, I've been through hell. And I'm still standing. I am not ashamed of my past. I did what I had to do. And God carried me through every valley. I am stronger, wiser, and I still stand in grace. Y'all, I made it through this episode without crying, or as my kids would say, crashing out. Because it did trigger. It's a trigger. But it also is a reminder that I can get through anything as long as I have my faith and I trust that man above. If this episode hits home for you, I want you to know this. You're not broken. You're not less than. You're not too far gone. Your story isn't over. You keep going. You keep believing. Let people talk. You just keep healing and building. Until next time, y'all, as always, stay grounded, stay creative, and keep flowing.